Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jacob, and welcome back to Dress Rehearsal, the podcast where Broadway and fashion take center stage, and we dive deep on the roles that shape us on stage and off.
Today's guest is Donna Vivino, a true Broadway baby. Donna made her Broadway debut at the age of 8 as the original Young Cosette in Les Misérables. Since then, she has been in so many of our favorite Broadway shows, from Elphaba and Wicked to Jersey and Alicia Keys' Hell's Kitchen, as well as Hairspray, Martin Short's Fame Becomes Me, Saturday Night Fever, and more. Donna is such a special blend of heart and wit. She can also be spotted on TV and in movies, including the feature film Ezra, starring Robert De Niro. Coming up next, she will be in Brigadoon at the Pasadena Playhouse opposite legends like Tyne Daly. This episode is a true lesson in following your instincts, having the guts to put yourself out there, and always letting people know when you're touched by their artistry. Donna has so much wisdom to share, which makes her a natural educator. Be sure to check out her company, Broadway Unlimited, where she shapes the next generation of artists. Please enjoy this conversation with Donna Vivino. And please welcome Donna Vivino to the podcast. How are you, Donna?
I'm well. How are you, Mackenzie?
I'm doing well. We start every episode with, when did you get bit by the theater bug?
Oh, I can answer this quite easily. My grandma took me when I was really young. I might have been 6 or 7. She took me to see Me and My Girl at the Marquis Theater with Robert Lindsay and Marianne Plunkett. And I was watching Marianne Plunkett and I was like, she's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I want to be like her. I would say right after that, I then watched the original West Side Story movie, which I started watching it on repeat. I was obsessed. And then like a year and a half later, I did get into Les Mis. So it happened I got bit by the bug and then so it did happen kind of quickly in that regard.
Right.
But yeah, I was about 6 or 7.
I saw Marianne Plunkett in The Notebook, like 2 or 3 years ago, and the way that woman commands a stage, like I was so transfixed.
And I don't think she's done a musical since Me and My Girl. I think that yeah, please don't quote me on that, but
Yeah.
I do remember when I heard Marianne Plunkett was going to be in The Notebook, I'm freaking out and I'm at a party at Michael Greif's house because he directed The Notebook and Hell's Kitchen and Days of Wine and Roses that year. It was a banner year for him. And I said, Michael, Marianne Plunkett's here. And he's like, yeah, you want to meet her? And I just sat next to her and talked to her like the whole party. I didn't want to be anywhere else. So
Well,
she's amazing.
she's probably like Pandora's box of stories. And then I went on a deep dive and I saw her husband in the Tom Hanks
Jay.
play with Kelly O'Hara, also Days of Wine and Roses. So it all comes back
Uh-huh.
together.
And J.O. Sanders is her husband. He's a wonderful actor on television and film. And Marianne's done some of that as well. And just they're a really amazing couple. And she's a mom and she's awesome. She's really sweet. Yeah.
Also, going back to Les Mis, you were in fact the original Young Cosette. You
I
made your
did.
Broadway debut in elementary school. You now have a
Mhm.
son that age. Have you
I do.
reflected on like how wild it is that you found your North Star that young?
Absolutely. And I'm actually in shock that my parents put in all that. I mean, it's a lot of energy and time and I mean, schlepping me to the city. And I was also very active doing commercials and auditioning and doing, because I started out in film and TV actually.
Mhm.
And then Les Mis happened. Like, I was doing film and TV when I was 7. Was on a television show and I did something with Marissa Tomei, which was an ABC after school special and all that. And I really still love on camera very, very much. It was kind of my first love. But then I see that and I'm like, whoa. And I always was able to sing. So I was like, I want to be up there. And they're like, well, if anything ever comes up for kids on Broadway, there's the tap dance kid and there's not much else. And then Les Mis just kind of came. I think about my son and I'm like, he's so young.
Hmm.
I mean, I was 8. I was 7 when I auditioned. I was 8 when I booked it. Then we went to Washington, D.C. for a couple months prior. I was 8. And then I turned 9 a few weeks before opening night.
Wild.
It's too young. But then you think of all the Matildas, and we didn't rotate then.
Right.
So it wasn't like me and 2 other Cosettes rotating. I was young Cosette when we opened, and I did all 7 shows because there were only 7 when Les Mis first opened. And then after the 6 months, I did 5, but I still was doing the bulk of them, which is a
Right.
lot.
And
Yeah.
you look at a show like one of the shows that made me fall in love with theater was Billy Elliot. And there is a big difference between a show like that where there's so many kids around and like there's a community there. But like the fact that you were in the show with only a handful of other kids, like it is just a crash course in like how to be an adult working in the theater.
It is. And I was doing it during the AIDS crisis as well. So it was a crash course in how to be an adult, how to learn about death, how to learn about empathy. It was a crazy time. We were losing company members. So I don't think I was so like, yeah, I know what AIDS is. I know how it, how it can, it was just it was a dark time, but a very communal time. I
Hmm.
think that Equity Fights AIDS started then.
Hmm.
We, I believe it began in like 88. I remember collecting for that as a
Right.
child.
And I just
Wow.
finished Mark Shaman's book, and in his book, he writes about like the 130 friends that he lost during that time. And I
Absolutely. Yeah.
remember Gavin Creel in an interview was talking about how, like, when he went to London, he was like, the West End is amazing, it's great, but it's not the community. And he was like, I think Broadway Cares is why Broadway feels like such a community because there's like a shared purpose at the forefront. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective. Nothing against the West
Wow.
End.
No, that's right. That's so, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I think he was right.
Because it's just like this is one room where it doesn't matter if you're in a show, what show you're in, but we all have this like driving purpose.
Larger than ourselves and even
Mhm.
larger than the shows.
Truly.
Larger than entertainment, but giving back and helping. Yeah. That's really wow, Gavin.
I, I can't also recommend Mark's book enough. Like it was such a beautiful kind of way through show business that feels like doesn't happen anymore. And
Yes,
you were in Hairspray,
I
and
was.
I read that you had a total of 14 auditions. Like what
Yeah.
what did that process teach you about like staying committed to what you want to do?
Well, I think when I started going to the auditions, I had just come out of college. I had just done Saturday Night Fever on
Mhm.
Broadway, and I'd come out of college and I was hitting like the chorus calls for it. So a lot of them were just me like showing up and being like, "Ooh, that was,
Mhm.
just because even though I was in Saturday Night Fever on Broadway, I did not come out of a conservatory. I had taken kind of time off and I went to Barnard College where I thought I was going to become a lawyer.
Mhm.
And then I really missed performing and I had reached out to my childhood manager who said if anything crosses my desk, I'll let you know. And she's like, this is going to sound weird, but they're looking for pit singers for Saturday Night Fever on Broadway and they might cover some roles on stage and they want people like 18 and up. And I just, you're Italian, where you should go. And I went, and there were like so many people there. Like I could tell you the names of
Right.
people that are multiple Tony nominees now that were at that, call. And I somehow got it. There was three women and three men, and we had to blend and harmonize. And I was in a cappella through college. And I
There
wonder
you go.
sometimes if that did it. And so there I was, like my senior year at Barnard, and then going up there. While I was doing that, Hairspray was coming about and Hairspray was coming. They were doing like workshops and stuff. So I think I auditioned for a workshop. When I say 14 times, it was like
Okay.
through the process of first, like they're doing this workshop and they kept bringing me in for Tracy. And I wasn't quite on the nose for Tracy, I believe. I covered it, but I barely went on. I wasn't quite on the nose for Tracy. Wasn't quite what they were looking for a penny. I think they just didn't know what to do with me. And I also was really not a very strong dancer at all.
Mm.
Like I wasn't coming out of the conservatories having danced every day. I was not doing well at those dance calls. But the more I went, the more I was learning the choreography. And then the show opens on Broadway, and thank goodness for Shoshana Bean, who created Shelley.
Mhm.
And I went and saw it, and I was like, oh, that's what that is. That's what I would do. Which they probably had figured out, which is an ensemble track, but all those ensemble characters are really interesting and featured. And so I then got called in for the first national tour for Tracy, and it was me and like four other people there. But again, I wasn't quite what they were looking for that. I think they wanted to see if I could cover Tracy because
Mhm.
that for that track. That's what I think that was because I had to do like the nicest kids in town dance. And then I got it, and the first national was incredible. That was one of the best experiences because we had a blackout during rehearsals in the New York City blackout that lasted like
Right.
several days in 2003, I think. We were in a rehearsal studio and we see people coming out of buildings. And this is like post 9/11,
Mhm.
not too, and the lights are going out and like everyone's like, I want to go home. What's going on? And those of us who didn't live in Manhattan were kind of like, oh, like, how are we getting, there's no subways but there half of our cast had been cast out of LA. So they were all put up at a hotel and we all went to this hotel and like we lit candles and sang songs and ate pizza because all the pizzerias were still open with their wood burning stoves and and it was magical. And when we came back to rehearse like 3 days later, Jack O'Brien was like, "What has happened here?" We were so bonded as a
Right.
cast. That original company of the First National will always be like the most special place in my heart.
I feel
Truly.
like everyone that's ever been in Hairspray feels that way. Like I've heard Shoshana talk about it too, where it's like they made backstories for every single person in the ensemble, and she didn't
And
know.
we made our own, you know,
Right.
and we made our own. Yeah.
And she went into the audience to watch the show for the first time, and she realized she's like, "Oh, I'm in the dark. I thought I was the star of this show. Like I thought
Yeah.
we all were like the biggest deal." And speaking of Shoshana, I want to talk about like sisterhood a little bit because yes, you both played Shelley, and then you also were both Elphabas, and
I
then you went
know.
on to be her standby in Hell's Kitchen.
Mhm.
And so often performers will circle each other in the business when they're up for like similar roles. And I'm curious from your perspective, what you've taken away from like building community with those women is so much more powerful than competition in
Oh
any
yeah.
scenario.
I also think that she and I are quite different, and I never realized that until I was standing by, and then she was like, she's such a tour de force vocally, especially in that R&B world. The things she can do is just incredible. And I just realized suddenly that I was like, oh, I never was, I just was like, wow, we're actually really different, and we have different backgrounds in life, and we're bringing different things to the role. So we just had mad respect for each other and got along
Right.
really well. And then when she left, I left shortly thereafter. Like I took over for a very short time, and then I moved on from the show as well. So we kind of, we opened the show together and then left almost the same time. So it
Right.
was, and I wanted that because I don't really like standing by or understudying. So and I don't really do it that much anymore. So when this came about, I was like, well, who would it be for? And
Mm,
then when I heard it was Shoshan, I was like, okay, for her, yes, because I know it's a strange thing, but I know her. She's cool. She's someone, it's funny. We've been circling each other, but we never actually got to work together because the joke, I was like, we're never going to work together. But then we did, right? We got to do something together. And she's like, we worked together before we did a reading. I'm like, oh, you're right. We did. But I had forgotten. And I'm glad that I actually got to know her as a human being, not just someone else in the industry with a great
sure.
voice or great acting or any of that. I would like to say that we became friends. So, yeah.
Something about Jersey and Hell's Kitchen that feels very you is like the breakdown is very Donna.
Yeah.
Was it scarier for you to like be a version of yourself on stage? Because a lot of times people love the comfort of like, I can hide behind this character because we're so different.
I think that she's more outwardly tough than I am, so I
Okay.
had to figure that out. I didn't realize how strong I'm like, wait, I am a single mom doing this right now. Like, because I
From
was
New
also
Jersey.
from New Jersey, and I was also going through a divorce while I was doing that show. So that was just, there was a lot of things, I guess, to pull from. Not that Jersey is divorced, but I'm dealing with a Davis,
Sure.
so to speak, or something that's not going to work out, even if you want it to, kind of situation. And so it was, I think maybe she empowered me.
Mm,
Actually, I think it was more about, it wasn't scary for me. I loved having to just disappear into her because I had to get stronger than I think I am in my everyday life. Not, she's just not afraid to
you're right.
say what she's feeling. So I think she changed me in many ways. It was a great place to land during that time in my life.
And what a special, just like people always say that like the right roles come at the right times, and it feels like
Yes.
such a perfect reflection. And speaking of your Davis, Brandon Victor Dixon, and you went to college
College.
together.
Yes.
And how cool was it to like build a relationship on stage with someone you like have so much history with?
I'm gonna tell you my story at Brandon. So Brandon, he's like, I think a year or two younger than me in college. And he comes in and he auditions for our a cappella group. And I'm
Okay.
like, wow, this guy's really great voice. And then later that evening, there were auditions for a production of Romeo and Juliet that the theater department was doing, which I was not in the theater department, but went I went because I'm like, I'm going to go do a Shakespearean monologue to like not be nervous and just try it. Because I
Okay.
had taken like one acting class at Barnard and it was a acting Chekhov. And they were like, you should come audition. I was like, I don't know Shakespeare. They're like, just do it for the experience. And then I watched this guy that I had seen that morning do Shakespeare equally as well. And I was like, okay. So he wound up, I think he got into Romeo and Juliet, but I don't think he didn't do our a cappella group. I don't know if he did any a cappella groups. So I found him and I'm like, listen, my name is Donna Vivino. I'm a professional actress. I'm here in the city. I go out for things here and there, but I'm kind of taking a break. I have a great manager. If you ever want to do this professionally, I think you can, and you should reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with her. And I think he called me 3 years later. He says it was 3 months later.
Okay.
I think it was 3 years like after graduation. And I hooked him up with Eileen DeNobili, who was my manager at the time, who then became his manager. And she passed away in 2016. That's why when Brandon and I we were in the playbill side by side, I think I had posted something about she would be so
Oh my
thrilled
God.
to see this. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, look at you talent scouting in college. Who would have thought? And
I'm still mad. I haven't gotten a single commission from him.
that's right. Like maybe 5%, perhaps. It is really special just to like have those people that you've known for so long and you never
Yeah.
know like it's like, oh, I don't want to go to this audition, but like you don't know who's going to be in the room or like a cappella group, I don't want to do it. Oh, you meet someone that meets someone else and you never really know where those things are going to go.
He came in and he had a great voice, but then I saw him act and I'm like, wait. He's like, this guy's, there's something here. He can do anything. So,
Right. He's very legit. And the first time you went on his jersey, Bernadette Peters was there. I just need to know everything about this.
okay. Okay. So at the Schubert Theater, Leon, who is I believe, the day doorman
Mhm.
during the day, I walk in and I see this poster that he has of Bernadette Peters and Hello Dolly. And I'm like, Leon. And he's like, she's the best. Because, Dolly was at the Schubert as well. She's the best. I love her. And I was like, I love her too. Now, I have met her before, but it was when I was doing Martin Short Fame Becomes Me. She came backstage and we took a photo together and that was it. But she was really there to see Marty and take pictures with the cast and do all that. So I was 28 years old when I was doing that I was like, hi, can I get a photo? Like I wasn't centered in myself yet. And so
Mhm.
she's like, oh, you were wonderful. And that was it. So I've always really liked her. When I was younger, people would say, you remind me of her. I think it's just because we have curly hair and we're
Sure.
Italian. You know that thing where you have curly hair and everybody says you look like that person? I'm like, but Martin Short used to say to me, God, you remind me of Bernadette. I'm like, it's my curls and my Italian. He's like, no, but like it's your energy. Like you're very, whatever. I won't say. It was good stuff. But
Hey, I'll take it.
yeah, he's like, you remind me of Bernadette. Great. So I'm like, well, I'm going to touch her every time I come in here. Like, I don't know why I was like, I'm going to rub her hat as like, good luck coming in. And it became a thing. And everyone knew that I did that. And they were like, that is so weird. Like, I would just be like, like, it's like, I don't know. It's like when you pass a threshold, it was some sort of like superstition. I started to rub her. And if there were ever celebrities at the show, they would post on the board in a sealed envelope and you can open and look. And I don't look. I don't like to know who's in the audience, like ever. Yeah, it's just not my thing. So some people like to know though. So I didn't. And I got a call. It was Mother's Day. And I was like getting ready to, with my son doing stuff before the matinee. And I got a call that I was on and it was like not planned. And I was like, oh my God. And on Mother's Day. So got to the theater. My best friend happened to be in town from London, got them tickets. She goes, I'll take your son. So he was in the audience with my best friend who was in town from London randomly.
I would sob.
And I know. And I'm like, this is magical. And I do the show, and the show itself was a blur. It was a first pancake. It was probably terrible. You know how like one of those and after the show, like basically 3/4 of the cast are waiting for me in the wings. And I'm thinking they're going to be like, wonderful. And they're like, Donna, do you know who's here? Do you know who's here? And I'm like, who? I was like, what's like, I didn't understand. And they're like, Bernadette. I was like, what? Like, and then she was very, I have to tell you, she really didn't, she didn't leave me alone. Like she just kept saying, I can't believe this was your first show. You were so dropped in and just, and I said, oh, thank you. And she really meant it. She just kept saying like, and then she's like, I just,
Man.
because I was in it. I mean, I had done one of the workshops,
Mhm.
so I kind of knew a bit of it, but it was still the first time on, different script, the whole thing. And we had the public theater. So I was like, well, it's my first show on Broadway, but it was a different show by then, She just was like, she just felt like I was very present in every scene. But that's just how I roll. I don't know how else to be. With the acting thing is where I feel most comfortable. So
And how fun and like perfect that like
it
the
was
whole
crazy.
cast knew too how much you loved her. So it wasn't like a secret like, oh, Bernadette's like my everything
Uh-uh.
inside, but it was like, no, everyone knows we're all
Yes.
on the same page.
Yes.
And
And then
about
there was the pink thing, but I'll tell you about that
oh,
another time.
no,
Yeah.
tell me.
Okay, so Pink was there. This might have been when I had taken over for an interim period between some other jerseys after Shoshana. And I Pink was there and she came backstage with Willow and Willow and I were talking a lot because I do a lot with youth in the arts and she's a young amazing performer and we both were talking and then I met Pink and it was great. And then I got a an Instagram message from Pink later that day that said, and I didn't post it because it was personal, right? But I can say what it said. She
Mhm.
said, I feel like such a fool. Willow told me that you were the original young Cosette in Les Mis, and I would have fallen to my knees and bowed to you because you are the reason why I am a performer. I and I was like, what? Like she wrote this whole thing and then she started following me and everyone's like, Pink's following you. And I was like, she likes Les Mis, Les Mis, I guess, but it was really cool. She's like, I would have literally fallen to the ground. She goes, I didn't realize. Willow told me later, and I was like, what? What? So
It is
she's
so wild. Like I love Pink. I saw her at MSG
she's
and
amazing.
I like died. I have to recommend this is like a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole, but there's a video of on Howard Stern. It's Billy Joel, Pink, and Idina Menzel singing Billy Joel songs. And it
Oh,
is wild. So it's Billy on the piano, and then it's Pink and Idina both sing a song with him. And it's my holy grail. Like anytime I'm anxious about anything, I listen to it because I like love Billy Joel more than anything. And let me tell you, it's wild.
you love Billy Joel. That's good to
Yes.
know. Did you
Yes,
see the Broadway Sings Billy Joel album?
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. That was
And
fun to do. Yeah.
and so it is really cool the way she does like pay her due to the influences that like really shaped her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And
She
I
was
think,
really, that was really cool.
I mean, totally wild. And
Because I
especially,
was inspired by Bernadette, and then I was like, wait, Pink is messaging me telling me she was inspired by me as a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, okay, you know?
well, and that's a part of Hell's Kitchen, like having such a young cast with so many Broadway debuts too. It reminds me
Yeah.
of Hairspray for a lot of people.
Yes.
And for you, like, what did that energy shift of like now you're imparting the wisdom feel like?
Woo! I mean, it's good if they want to listen.
Sure.
I, all I'm gonna say is when I see the young acting young, I just think to myself, well, someday they'll be older and be in the same
You're
position as
like,
me. Yeah,
what
I
I've
don't impart
seen.
wisdom unless I'm asked
Sure.
or unless I'm in a position, so I never will, because I also think that youth and young people also serve a purpose in a way, and things have changed too. The
Mhm.
industry has changed, and I think there was sort of this like, you're young and you've just started, so you just shut your mouth and put up with everything, and that's not really right.
Right.
And so I kind of admire a lot of the younger people
Hmm.
now, not just in this industry, but all around, because I think young people are not afraid to have boundaries and assert what they are willing to put up with or not. That was not an option,
Hmm.
I think, for definitely not for someone like Bernadette Peters, right? And then for me, not as much either. Now it's like, no, you can say, no, I don't want to be weighed in before, on a contract, which was happening for a really long time, even in my tenure. I don't want that. I don't feel comfortable with that, or that doesn't seem right. So some may argue like, well, we have thicker skin, maybe, but I also think that have pretty thick skin to speak up for themselves.
Hmm.
So
Right.
as much as like you're saying like, oh, am I imparting wisdom? I think I learned a lot from them too.
Hmm. It's the, it feels so manipulative, the thought of like, there's 100 girls on the street that will take this job from you in a second. It's like, no, that's not the point. I was chosen for a reason, so that's why I'm here. And I'm allowed to have a boundary of like, if you want me to show up 8 times a week, I can't do that if X, Y, and Z is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's fear-based of like, well, you'll just get replaced or no one's going to want to work with you again. And I think it's where it comes from is a moment of like, well, then okay.
Hmm.
Then I'll go do something else
Right.
because I think people are more empowered in a way who are younger. They're more empowered to speak up and say, "Hey, this doesn't feel right." There's also HR in theater now, and that wasn't a thing when I was a kid in theater.
Mhm.
It wasn't even until I don't even remember it on Wicked, to be honest. I mean, it's
Interesting.
very new.
I think something interesting that Wicked's doing now is like their contracts, you're not allowed to do it for a million years in a row because that's not sustainable as a human being.
The
And
tour was a lot for me. I did it so long.
right. And so there's a special like Hairspray Elphaba thread of you and Ali Mozzie did Hairspray together.
Yeah.
Then you went on to do Elphaba and Glinda. So how did that also change your performance to know you had this real life friendship to start out with?
Oh, Allie's just fun. She's so
Yeah.
goofy. She's so goofy and she's so chill on stage. She's
Mm,
just great to work with. She's like so chill. If you wouldn't think it, right? Because she's
right.
like bananas out there as Glinda, but she's just very zen. Oh, I love Allie. Yeah, I was like, oh, here we are.
Oh, to be Zen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Allie was on that first national with us too, as Henny cover.
It is so fun to see like these people circling back. I always explain it like sports of like, yeah, this player moves to this company
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it is
That's
a
a good
fun
way
way
of
to yeah. Because my dad will be like, how do you know this person was in a show before? Like Willow knew that you were in Les Mis, and I'm like, no, to me it's just like sports teams. It's like, oh yeah, they got traded from this to this, and like, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Follow us.
Exactly. And you were actually at my Elphaba in Miami in 2010,
Oh yeah.
and
When it was that the first time we were in Miami?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was.
Because you guys
Yeah.
had gone to Fort Lauderdale before.
Yes, I had a good run in Miami. I
Yes.
I I was like healthy and never out. You think of it that way. You always think, how was my voice in Miami? It's
And
great.
we'll take it. And
Florida was great. Anywhere that was humid was great for me,
right.
for the voice.
And famously, you and your sister Natalia were the first
Oh
to
yes.
both play the role. What was it like seeing her go on for the first time? I
Oh, it was
can't.
so wonderful. And I saw it in Costa Mesa. And she was amazing. And it was so wonderful. And I was sort of like just so proud of her and in awe of her. I wasn't really thinking about my time in the show. I was just in the
Right.
moment enjoying her. And I was really proud of her. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. It's probably so out of body just being like, I know how hard this is. Not like I
And
know the
she killed
lyrics,
it. Yeah. Yeah.
but like I know what this means to her also.
Yeah.
And
Definitely. I know. It's wild.
besides you and your sister, you come from a big showbiz family. Your dad was a part of like Conan's band on the Tonight Show. Like it seems
And I
like
have another sister, Antonia, who's really like active right now in a lot of regional productions. I think she's doing a chorus line soon again. She's an amazing dancer.
oh,
I'm like, that's not my, okay.
you're like, oh, so that's her thing.
And I saw her in as Maggie in Chorus Line. She was so wonderful. And that I just was like crying because whenever I see dancers, I just cry. So
I mean, because it's just like, how are they doing any of that?
I know.
And it seems like
And
your
my
big,
dad and my uncle, yes, we're all.
it feels like you all were like taught to be like showbiz hustlers and kind of like sustain a long career. And
No one taught us. I just think we do
really
it. Uh-uh.
interesting.
We're taught to work hard,
Hmm.
but I've never learned. My dad is not, he just works really hard. And he's even told me, like, I'd rather be lucky than good, meaning like you can work super, super hard and sometimes you just don't get the opportunities because it just wasn't in your path. And then Oprah will say, oh, there's no such thing as luck. It's opportunity meets level of preparedness. But sometimes it's like, yeah, but Oprah, those opportunities sometimes don't align maybe or it's bad luck or you have an opportunity and then all the funding falls out and the show doesn't come to Broadway or so there is an element of luck, things outside of our control. So I think I've always just been taught, like, what can you control? You can control how you treat people, you can control if you learn your stuff, how your work ethic is, right?
Hmm. We just had Mark Shaman on the podcast, and we were
Yeah.
talking about that whole thought of luck. And we even talked about the last 5 years, how people a lot of times will be like, it's unrealistic if Kathy's a good singer because then she would have been getting cast and stuff. And it's like, no, there are a million such talented people that aren't making it big. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the chutzpah that you had to cold email Mark about being in Fame
How
Becomes.
do you know about that? Did
I
I
do my research.
You're amazing. Okay. I was in Hairspray on Broadway because after the tour, I went to New York and
Hmm.
did Shelley there. And that was also great fun. Love that company. Love Hairspray. A little different than like originating it. But anyway, I'm
Yes.
there because it's more like people coming in and out. I was there, it was coming up on a year, and I was leaving to go do Legally Blonde. That's a whole other thing.
Drama.
So, and someone came in the dressing room and was like, I don't read breakdowns. I don't like seeing all what the auditions. I'm like, I'm gonna let my agent do that. Otherwise, I'll go crazy.
Sure.
I probably should, but I don't. She's like, oh, I was looking on breakdowns and they're looking for someone to replace Nicole Parker. And she has to be a good singer, but she also has to like do impressions and whatever. And she was like, doesn't that sound fun? And I feel like she was talking about it just in general. She's like, I feel like I want to try to get in for that. She's like, but I don't really know who I impersonate. She was just randomly talking while looking at breakdowns. And I heard that and I was like, it was a Saturday. I didn't even email my agent. I'm like, I just felt like I had to. I emailed Mark. I said, I never do this, but I heard blah, blah, blah. I think I'm what you're looking for. Never done anything like that. I said, I think I'm, because I used to do all these impersonations at the time. And I said, I think I'm what you're looking for. And that was it. And then he wrote me back and he's like, I did the same thing to Bette Midler.
Yep.
So I'm going to get you in. And then I emailed my agent that day and he's like, we submitted you. You didn't get an appointment and you're about to, this would probably conflict with Legally Blonde. And I was like, no, if I get an audition, I want to go in and do this. I have to do this. And they were at final callbacks at that point. So I got in there and it was like me and maybe like 4 or 5 other people. And I just wanted to go in and do it. Like, I just wanted to have the audition. It was the same feeling after Wicked. And then I got it. And that was amazing. And then also the heartbreak of like, I can't do this and it's going to be limited run and I'm only going to do it for 3 months and give up the 2 years I was working on Legally Blonde. But the opportunity to work with Martin Short was huge. That's one of those things where that's bad luck, right? Because you're not, yeah.
Right. But it's also like you had to do it just to know that you tried. You can't control the rest of it, but you can control that you gave it your all.
I also don't think I would have gotten Elphaba if I didn't do Martin Short because it put me in a principal contract level where suddenly it was like, oh, she really is holding her own. And not that everybody in their ensemble is a star, on Broadway, you know how that is. But it was sort of like, oh, suddenly I feel like I was starting to get called in for roles after that and not just ensemble.
Right. And people even say like once they've played Elphaba, it's like, oh, the industry knows you have the chops to sustain that 8 times a week. And so it just sends a message, not that it's going to get you your next job, but it just tells people like, I'm in a spot that like I know how to be healthy, I know how to show up.
Yes, I do think though that there's like it's not an Elphaba curse, but like there's a thing with Elphaba though too where it's like they're just like, oh, you must be like an amazing singer, and I'm like, well, actually, like I'm not your typical Elphaba, so what you think you're getting with me is not quite that. Like I was really when I was doing Martin Short, the associate director on that was a man named Paul Doby, who was also the associate on Wicked at the time. And I said, Paul, you do Wicked? I'm like, I can't get in for that show. I want to go in. And he goes, oh my God, you'd be such a great Glinda.
Interesting.
Because I was funny. And look at my hair, right? And I said, no, I'm an Elphaba. And he's like, really? I'm like, I'm an Elphaba. I'm like, I just have to straighten my hair. Like, you'll see it. And he got me in for Elphaba. And I remember casting being like, so, she was requested. We're bringing her in, but,
Wild. And see, that's the thought of like, don't put me into a box because I'm not necessarily what you think. And going back to Mark Shaman and Martin Short for a second, they're both SNL legends, and having comedic chops and impressions was the key to that role. Did you ever like audition for SNL? Was there a time that you were like, I'm gonna full pivot to comedy?
Well, I started doing a lot more improv after Martin Short. I just loved it. I wound up going on tour with Wicked. So that kind of thwarted that path that I was on. Not thwarted, but I went on a detour. When I left the tour from Wicked, I then came back and was like full back into my comedy and was doing stuff with UCB. And I met Paul Downs there, who's amazing, hack. And and Neil Casey. And Neil Casey started writing for SNL. And Kate McKinnon was at UCB. And I was taking classes. I wasn't on any of the teams, but I still knew all of them. And they were like, you're really good. And you should keep going. And then I got a self-tape request for SNL. And there was strong interest, and it was very exciting. Basically, they're just like, send your materials. So I sent some stuff, and I remember I sent it to Neil, and I was like, what do you think? He goes, this is actually really good. Like, this is good. You're not putting on costumes. It's just you rolling from, he goes, this is great. He's like, I really hope you get to come screen test because I think you'd be great. But it's the year they took Kate McKinnon. And so I was like, listen, she is a goddess of comedy. And I was thrilled. And I was like, see, that's the thing. I think the writing piece for me, I didn't feel as confident in.
Hmm.
I was taking some sketch writing because you have to do it all, you know? And I was taking some sketch writing and I still didn't feel as confident in my writing abilities. And I think that for me, that's, I didn't have any writing to show either. Not that you have to do both when you're auditioning, but it helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to be seen for SNL, but I don't, I didn't have the experience that someone like Kate and Neil, I mean, they were, just living in comedy. I think if after Martin Short, if I didn't get Wicked on the tour, I would have continued in comedy. I think I like to do it all.
Right. I have to tell you my Kate McKinnon story. So Kate recently moved into my friend Alex's building that she like grew up in the city. And Alex's moms were in the elevator with Kate like the first time. They've lived in this building for like 25 years. And her moms were so funny. They were like, they were trying to prove to Kate that like, oh, we're the lesbians that live next door. Like, hi, don't you want to be our friend? Like, we're lesbians too. Like, hi. And Kate was just like, hi, like, nice to meet
I,
you. And one of Alex's moms looks, I guess Kate had like Magnolia Bakery or something, and she goes, oh, you got anything for us? And Alex was just beside herself. She's like, what are you guys doing? Like, she can tell by your outfits that you're both lesbians. Like, chill, like, calm down.
she's like, we're family. Where's
Right,
my cupcake? Where's
right.
my
I
cupcake?
was like,
Kate McKinnon's gonna write a sketch about that
it was
situation.
so, I told that to Alex. I was like, this is just beyond. Like, you can't
Yeah.
make this up at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's really, see, truth is funnier than fiction most of the time. Yeah.
Truly. And another comedy icon, Fran Drescher, who has been
Oh my
like
gosh, right.
my guiding light in showbiz for
She's
everything.
awesome.
Like I would stay up late and watch Nick and Night and be like, I want to be her because she's writing the show, she's in the show, she's producing it, like she is it
The
today.
force. And she's
And
the best thing in Marty Supreme.
I
There, I said it.
say it louder.
I wanted more Fran. I wanted more of that woman.
And she did an interview with Ted Danson actually, and she was
Uh-huh.
like, the people are telling me they want more of me. Sorry, I agree. And I was like, yeah, of course.
Seth just had me for one of his satyrs do Fran, and I hadn't done it in years. And then
Mhm.
he's texting her after, and he's like, Donna Vivino, and she's like, because he had me do it for her at one point too. And she was
Wow.
like, oh my goodness, do I actually sound like that? I'm kidding. I know.
It's
She was so
cute.
cute. Yeah,
And
she was.
she has a similar story to you and Mark Shaman, where she was on a flight sitting next to like a CBS executive and just like pitched the nanny because she's like, this is my moment, this is my shot.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I do just need to know, like, Just Be Who You Are is the song you sang in Stars of David off Broadway, which is inspired by Fran. I just need to know, like, what was that experience?
Well, Amanda Green wrote an incredible song. She's awesome. And I really loved doing that show. My son is, his father's Jewish. It's kind of part of my identity. I was the only person in the cast who wasn't Jewish, but they embraced me so much. And Abigail Pogrebin, who wrote the book Stars of David, used to say to me, like, you're very Jewish. And the whole concept was, what is Jewishness? Like, is it culture? Is it identity? It's like, of course there's like, are you're born Jewish or you aren't, but it really explored a lot of that. There were, I think, stories in there even about people who've converted to
Mm,
Judaism as well, which was something I had toyed with for a long time. Not toyed, but really
consider.
considered. And so I loved that experience. I have to say that the Fran Drescher song was a blast,
Beyond.
but the Ruth Bader Ginsburg song that Tom Kitt wrote is still, I think, I'm like, Tom, that song
Too
is
good.
just, he's so good.
My friends and I have a list of non-Jews that we're happy to see play Jews. So it's you in that song, it's Stephanie J. Block in falsettos, and
Oh,
it's
right. I forgot about Steph doing that. And
because
Eden did falsettos too.
right, there's like an Italian Jewish alchemy, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then also Rachel Brosnahan and Maisel. Like these are we're like we can get behind these.
Okay, I have to confess something, and people react very strangely. I have never seen Maisel. People go, "What?" I know. Look at your face.
No, it's
I know.
okay.
There's so much to watch
It's
and only so much
overwhelming.
time, and I never got to it. So I'll
Right.
get back to it.
Well, so I watched it because I love Joan Rivers and like
Me
she is my
too.
blueprint. But I feel like Hacks is more what you're looking for Joan. Like Maisel is more of just like an alchemy of
I
all
love
the
hacks.
women. I die for Hacks. I can't. It's the only thing making me laugh out loud right now.
Speaking of which, 11 p.m. at a UCB, I would sit and just go watch everything. And those 11 p.m. shows, Paul Downs does this one man show. There's like 8 of us in the audience.
Mhm.
And he comes out and he's doing this show. And I'm like, who is this creature? I find him on Facebook and I'm like, hi, my name is Donna Vivino. I was Elphaba. I was Elphaba on tour, and that's before I went to the Broadway company. This, that, and the other. I said, I think you're amazing. I've worked with Martin Short, and I really do think that you could be like the next Martin Short. I write this to him.
Obsessed. I hope he
And
still
he's
has
like,
it.
thank you so much. I love Martin Short. And like, then when Hacks happened, I wrote him again. I'm like, Paul, I'm so happy for you. And like, he was like, thank you. Oh my God. Like,
It's so
no,
cool.
give me a part. No, I'm kidding.
True.
No, no, no.
Well,
Now, can I do a cameo?
exactly. Well, even right now with like the comeback with Lisa Kudrow coming back, she
Oh, I
was
just watched it. It's great.
so, I mean, her as Roxy Hart, I
Yeah.
can't it's so good.
Perfect.
It was perfect. But she did like a podcast with Conan for like preparing for the press or whatever. And they started out like doing improv in a basement, like Paul, with they said one show they had one person in the audience.
Yeah, you just do it.
And it's wild to then like you can't predict any of this, but the fact that then now like they're both such like mega talents that everybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
My manager, is now in, she's a manager, produces, but she was in basement at UCB. You just never know. She also, I mean, writing sketches and doing all that. She was part of that world as well.
and I think a really special part of that world is like it's almost like you come up with like a pledge class or like a group of people that you come up with. And even like Fran, like her and her gay ex-husband wrote The Nanny together and they were together in high school. And it's like, oh, how cool it is to like go through that whole journey together.
I know it's the best. It's sort of, it makes you think of the Second City people
Yes.
and how like Catherine and Eugene, and then they developed Schitt's Creek, and how many years that those two known each other. It's just
Right.
wild.
Well, that was even when Diane Keaton passed.
Ugh, and Cat, it was just,
I know. But Steve Martin posted that him and Diane Keaton were in like a college production together.
yes.
And I was
They're
like,
just they're just theater
oh,
nerds like us, all of us.
well, that's my favorite thing is to like out mainstream stars is like theater people. Like Sarah Jessica Parker posted recently about Alana Levine's podcast, Little Known Facts, and she's like, our theater community. And I'm like, people think she's just Carrie Bradshaw. Nay,
She was
nay. She's
Annie.
Annie. I know.
She was Annie, and one of my people I impersonate, one of my favorites.
Oh,
That
this is true, which is a very niche impersonation.
it's like so niche, and I haven't done it in so long, but yeah, yeah.
Well, so speaking of a style icon, you've been
Oh
having
yeah.
a lot of fun red carpet looks. And so I am curious, like, what are you wearing when you feel the most confident or most powerful?
Oh, it's so funny. I don't know. I went to the Every Brilliant Thing opening, and I had gotten off an 8-hour train because my flight had been canceled from Buffalo, and I had like an hour and a half to get to the red carpet. So I threw on a red lip and a black suit. And it actually was a really cool look
Hmm?
because I just was like, gotta do that. But then like when my hair's straight and I'm wearing something else, I can look like a different person. That's always been the issue for me. Like I feel like sometimes I'm like, should I have like a signature thing? But that's just not me. I need to go with how I'm feeling that day. My style identity is fluid.
Right. And I do want to talk about hair a little bit because I'm a naturally curly, swirly girly. And I feel like, especially with casting, like,
It's really rough.
it's really not hard to
You don't know which
navigate.
way to go.
And you don't want to compromise, like, you don't want to fit a look, but also it's like, this is me and like, this is how I feel the most myself.
I went in for something, I won't say the project, but it's a big show. And I felt that I should have a blowout. It's just how I felt for this
Mhm.
character. And casting came out of the room, and I was like, "Hi," and he said, "Hi, I'm looking for Donna." And I went, "I'm Donna." He went, "Oh my God, I didn't reckon." And I'm like, "I know." And I was like, "Geez, it's just a blowout." But it
Right.
really is. You can look on my Instagram and see, and it's like night and day. And there's just different energies coming from each. And then I don't know if you've Sarah Jessica Parker in the book Stars of David talks about, and I did the monologue in the show where she says, I feel like people say that straight hair is pretty and curly hair is wild and unruly
Yep.
in terms of who you are inside. So yeah. But
Yeah.
Jersey, I wear with my curly hair
Well, of
because I was
course.
like, you know.
I know. And it is just feels like
But I wasn't recognized by someone that knows me pretty well. And I was like, wow, okay.
it also is just like an ownership of yourself.
And
Like
then like Bernadette like never straightened her hair.
I,
She was like, but that became her like signature thing.
but those
So
ringlets are
I
wild.
know they're beautiful. They're
They're so
beautiful.
impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone has their thing. Like everybody has a thing that they're like, I don't know what to do about this. But I feel like as people grow up, then they start wearing their curls again. Like in high school, everyone will be pin
Yeah.
straight, pin straight. And once you start to own yourself, you can kind of own that
But
more.
I still like to straighten it sometimes, but it really does damage the hair a lot. So
Mhm.
and then you lose your curls and then the curl pattern's messed up. So it's like really
Yeah,
tricky. But I had like straight blonde hair for a long time. Like that was
really.
oh yeah. If you do some deep digging, you'll I mean like pre-Instagram,
Sure.
like blown out blonde. Yeah.
Well, I also want to go back to we had Jake Sokoloff on the podcast, and he
Oh,
styled you for the public opening night and Broadway opening night.
I love that look. The pink.
Yes, for Hell's Kitchen. So I want to
Uh-huh.
know like what was your inspiration behind those looks and kind of
Okay.
you don't steer away from color, which is something I need to get better about.
I wanted color for both. So I kind of told him some designers that I liked, and then he pulled that pink one from the designers that I liked. And then the one for the Broadway opening, I don't know, I just said, I want to wear metallic.
Mm.
And I was thinking it was going to be gold or bronze or something. And then he brought the blue metallic, and I was like, it was the one. Yeah.
And I also would have never thought like blue metallic, but it's so cool. And it's like
It was
iridescent
fun. It was
almost.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, that was fun.
and it's like a way
And
to
then Sunset, I knew I was gonna be on the red carpet, but I was on his jersey. So I was like, pin curled curls are terrible when they come out. So I had to have a blowout before the show. I said, when you pin curl me, make it look so it'll look decent when it comes out. I had to run over to that red carpet. And I was like, just a little black dress. Like I styled myself. I was like, I can't like be bothered. And you liked that one.
yeah,
So
I love and everybody loves like a bright red tights situation is the
yeah,
moment right now.
yeah,
So it was
yeah.
perfect.
It was fun. It
I
was
also
fun.
love to know like if there was one co-star or just costume department of a show that you would love to raid just for real life.
Oh, Mad Men.
Obsessed. Love.
It's Mad Men. For television. Now I'm trying to think for theater. For theater, I want something. I'm trying to think of a show that has like. I just want the ball gowns from Les Mis.
Obsessed.
Like I know I want to say Les Mis, but I don't want the rags. I want
No,
those
no,
ball gowns at the wedding
no. Yeah.
with the huge hoop skirt that's like so French. That's what I want. Even Queen of Versailles, I want some of those costumes. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I want. Yes. Yeah, I
But
would never wear that like out and about or at a wedding or anything for myself, but I would wear it for fun.
oh, totally. And something that I think is very exciting is the fact that you are now taking on a director's hat. I saw you did the reading of 40 Elephants, led by
That was
Julia
fun.
Nightingale from Dead Outlaw.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, like, what it means to you to like keep exploring creativity in different
Oh,
mediums.
it's something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to be a writer when I was a child, and then I got Les Mis and stopped writing. But I still, like to write things. It's a confidence thing because you're like, well, how am I going to do that? And you kind of just have to do it and try. And I also just have so much respect for writers and directors who have been at it for a really long time, just doing that. So I'm like honored to be able to enter that space and dip my toe in and be a part of that at times. I actually just was pitched something yesterday to direct. So I'm going to LA for 2 months for a project, but we'll talk about. But I love it, and I think I'm pretty good at it, and I'm learning. And I have not mounted a full production yet. That's a whole other.
Mhm.
But I thought about it, and I was like, you've got to surround yourself with really amazing people who know what they're doing. Because I was like, well, with lighting, I'm like, oh, you get a lighting designer. You don't light it. I mean, I know this, but you think to yourself, but if I want something to look a certain way, how do I? And I'm like, you tell the lighting designer what your vision is,
Mhm.
and they can execute it. And they can also say, that's not going to work because, or actually in the script, a lighting designer is so important and I mean, every part of theater, that's what I love. What I love about directing is I feel more collaborative than ever.
Mm. Because you're assembling an Avengers of everybody's expertise.
And as an actor, I rarely get to feel collaborative unless I'm in like a really deep rehearsal process.
Right.
And a lot of times you don't have time for that. I had that with Michael Arden. He's really great at like deep rehearsal processes, but like it's hard to feel collaborative sometimes as an actor.
Well,
It
I was
is.
just about to bring up Michael Arden because I think you look at people who started as performers that they're like an actor's director.
Yeah,
And
he's great.
it's such a great lens to be able to put yourself out as a director and look at it macro, but also understand the micro that goes behind like the performer's brain.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I also want to talk about LA a little bit. You have
Uh-huh.
teased that there's something exciting happening
Yes.
soon.
Well, it's something really left field in the sense that, like, I don't do a lot of Golden Age musicals. I did Guys and Dolls at a theater in Connecticut a few years ago. But other than that, I don't think people think Golden Age Donna Vivino. But I'm going to be doing Brigadoon at Pasadena Playhouse with Tyne Daly and Max von Essen and Betsy Morgan. And Alexandra Silber has rewritten the book, and it's being directed by Katie Spellman from The Notebook and The Upcoming Wonder. So it's a really exciting team, and Pasadena Playhouse is doing incredible work. They just did Amadeus with Jefferson Mays, and everyone out there just keeps telling me what a great theater it is. So I'm super excited, but I'm like, I'm Scottish and in a Golden Age musical. Go figure.
Hey, I mean, those are the times that are the most fun where you're like, could have never predicted this.
I mean, and I just looked at the scene and kind of just went for it, and then I got it.
Well,
So
there you go.
yeah,
And
yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
so exciting. And
And Tyne Daly, like for me, I saw her do Gypsy, so
I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say, was she your Mama Rose?
when I was a little kid, yeah.
Wild,
I also saw Bernadette and Patty,
of course.
so those were my three. And Audra,
I was
four.
gonna
Oh
say,
my
did you
gosh,
see
I've seen
Audra?
four. Yes, and they all four were amazing. Like
Right.
that's a thing.
You can always tell someone's like generation by who's their Mama Rose.
Well, I don't know if Tyne is actually my Mama Rose because she's my Mama Rose as a child.
Sure.
She was my like intro to like Gypsy, but I don't think I understood the story quite yet. So I was just
Right.
like, wow, she's amazing. I think I was looking at June and Louise more. Like, look at the
Of
kids on
course.
stage, right? Now, I have to say, Patty and Audra are incredible, but I loved what Bernadette, well,
Yeah.
I loved what she brought to Rose. I saw things I had never seen before.
Right. Which is what you want out of any revival, has to have something new to say in order to
Yeah,
like be meaningful.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So, well, thank you, thank you. I have one last
Thank
question
you.
for
Yeah.
you. We
Okay.
end every episode with, what do you hope your signature stamp on the industry will be? What people think of when you leave a room?
What people think of when I leave a room. I hope they feel better about themselves because I hope that I was kind and inspiring in some way. And I hope they feel like they were seen and that they were in a shared space. I hope they feel like, wow, I love collaborating with this person. Yeah.
And I think it goes back to that being present that Bernadette pointed out. So I think it's when you're present, that's when you can invest in other people the most.
Yeah. I know. I feel, and she was so present with me, even just talking to me, genuinely. It wasn't that whole like, uh-huh, not that, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Genuinely just present and not also just staring into your eyes like I'm showing you I'm present.
Right.
You can't fake that. I think actually what if I could encapsulate it, wow, she's very real and authentic,
Mhm.
which isn't always everybody's cup of tea, but like, whoa, she's real and authentic and knows who she is. That's what
Yeah.
I'd love to. I said too much.
No, please. I'm the same way. Well, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
And that's our show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to Dress Rehearsal. If you love theater and fashion as much as we do, invite another diva to join the community. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, all the places. See you next time.